As a content creator, you are going to create content on a weekly basis. From video editing to video creation, you as a creator need a set of tools to perfect your craft. Much like a blacksmith, without a hammer and anvil, there is no blacksmith at all. So what tools do you need to make sure your video looks and sounds good? The keyword there is sounds. Hello, I'm Anthony A-Dog, and today I'll be reviewing a potential microphone that could be one of your tools to success in the future. This microphone is called the Maono AU HD300T, which is priced at only $60. So let's get into this review. Hello everybody, today we're going to be reviewing the design and other elements of the Maono, I think that's how you say it, Maono AU HD300T microphone. Now this microphone is a condenser microphone and its price range is about $60, so it's fairly good for a beginner or even somebody just trying to start up with like maybe streaming or content creating. And I'm going to be reviewing the design of it, what it looks like, you know, pretty much everything you'd want to know, the cables, everything, and then we'll be moving on to the audio of it. All right, so first things first, as you can see, we have the bass part of it. Right up here, you'll see there's like a little pin here, this little pin, and when you pull it out, it opens up a little slot. So you can pull it out. So once you get that slot open, I don't know if you can see it very well. Keeps wanting to focus on me. There we go. But you can then put in this metal piece that comes with it. It comes with the microphone. It's going to go through there, and it's going to have this little thing here. And then you're going to pick up your piece again, and you're going to want to, take that piece and you're going to want to screw it back in, but make sure that the metal piece is on top of it. Now when you get this, you're going to get this metal piece with it, and the screw, it's all going to come with it. And once you do that, and then this comes along with a pop filter. So they sent a pop filter with the microphone and this metal piece, and that's what I want to start off with first. So there is a pop filter included with this. I'll be getting into the cables very soon, but if you look at this, watch. Okay. Well, you gotta twist it around. I think I put it a little bit too far back there, so let me loosen it real quick and bring it forward a bit. You want to get it just right, pretty much, right about there. And you just twist it and turn it. And then, after a minute, wait a minute, there we go. Voila! Okay, so we have our pop filter on. This is to make sure that when you're speaking, of course, when you say like, puh, or buh, it's not going to pop the mic. Now, I will admit this microphone does not come with a cover pretty much to keep wind resistance, but it's mainly used for at home, so I don't think I see a reason for that. But all in all, I think it's pretty cool how they made this little metal piece and they have the pop filter on here. I think that's pretty cool how somehow made a cheaper version to make it, but it still is pretty solid for a setup. However, I will say the metal piece is a bit flimsy with it. If you look here, take a look at this. It can be moved easily. That is one con, I won't lie, with this. It is a very flimsy piece of metal, so it's going to be something you don't want to mess with once you get it set up with this metal piece. But other than that, I think the pop filter was a good idea for it. However, I do wish that they had taken this mic and maybe put a little bit more money into the pop filter part. It is really ingenious how they made this pop filter part. They literally used a piece of metal and like screws to make this, but I still feel like they could have put a little bit more money into the pop filter. Even if it had only taken like $10 extra, like it was a $70 mic, I feel like this pop filter a lot of people use, and it can be very annoying when it's as flimsy as this. Look, go ahead and take a look at this. It's flimsy. See, it moves at the slightest twitch. If you just poke it, it's going to move, and that can cause the pop filter to move out of place, you know, depending on how much pressure. And even if you twist the screw all the way in, like it's not going to keep it fully in place unless you carefully put that as so. The good thing about this is I don't really use a pop filter. I know you're supposed to as a professional, but I don't currently because I'm usually not that close to my mic. I'm a streamer / YouTube video creator, so I don't really go right up in here unless I was doing something like ASMR. Which, by the way, since this is a condenser microphone, it can be used for ASMR, and I can confirm, even though we haven't gotten to the audio section yet, that this is a very good mic for ASMR. Very few adjustments, and for 60 bucks, it's seeming pretty good thus far. But I want to talk about the cables though, so let's move this out of the way, at least a little bit. And I am going to take the filter off because it's kind of big in the video. Alright, so this microphone does come with two connections that you can use. There's the very simple one for maybe someone that doesn't do as much audio work, but like me, I don't really focus on audio till after production, which is a very simple USB cable. It's actually the newer USB. It's the USB-C cable. I don't know why it doesn't want to focus on that. It is the USB-C cable that you can connect it to. And then if you are maybe a artist or somebody that uses a soundboard, I believe. Not a soundboard, but I don't know what they're called. They're I have no clue what they're called. But pretty much you would plug these in. I think it's called an amp or something. It could be other things. You plug these in. I'm not a very big, professional with audio, like stuff like that. I do audio work in my editing software, so it's probably higher quality audio that way. On the back of this, you can see here that you've got the basic USB-C connection at the bottom here, and you've also got this connection. I don't even know what the name of this cord is, but you can do that if you just plug it in just properly. And voila, and then you can plug it into the other end. Though I will not be using those, I'll be using the USB-C because I use a computer. Very simple stuff. And although I do use that, I would suggest this to someone that does use the other cord. I forgot to mention this mic also has a volume. It's kind of hard to see, but this mic does have a volume button you can reach in there. I can turn this in here to the side, bottom left pretty much. And there is a volume button here. So we click this to turn it up, click that to turn it down. If you don't want to use your sound software in your computer, which I can just use my sound software. But how it fits in here, how this mic fits in here itself, I'm going to pull it out of here. It's very simplistic, yet very, very, very smart. Pretty much, you take this here, you're going to take this here, and you're going to put the mic through the middle of there, and bring it to the other end, and voila, you bring it out the other end, and voila, it's now held in place. So even though the design, I will say itself, is kind of cheap, that's still good. That's still good because it holds it in place, it keeps it from bouncing around, and although it looks really good. I mean, for $60, I will say I think this is a great, thus far, starter mic. I'm not gonna lie, this is really nice just for the cheap price of $60. I do recommend it for design. If the pop filter gets messed with, you're gonna have to move it back, and that can be kind of troublesome. The design itself is really sleek. I like it. I just love how they thought to use just simple rubber bands to even keep it in place. All in all, for 60 bucks, that is definitely worth it for the design, because the design itself is just, it's good. But that's not all that contributes to what this mic is, obviously. So we need to get into the next part, which the next part is audio. How well does the audio work? When you say something into the mic, is it clear? Is it good? Or does it sound like trash? So let's get into this next part to find out. And we're going to be doing an audio test with two of these mics. I am currently using my older mic just to not be biased with this. And what we're going to do here is we're going to open up a multi-track. We're going to call it P because I don't know why. We're going to open up a multi-track here, and then we're going to record from two different microphones. So right here we have the new one, which is the USB XLR dynamic microphone. And then we're going to do one with our other microphone. Alright, so we're going to start off with our old mic. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. And now for our new mic. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. So from what I'm seeing here, there is some pros and cons with both my old and new mic. The new mic itself has a con of having a buzz in the background, as you can hear here. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. And the old mic itself has a lot of white noise. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. It also makes us sound distant even though we're right in front of the mic for some reason, which I also do not like. However, with the new mic, you can hear yourself clearly. Although a little bit lower than normal, you can still hear yourself very clear, and there is a little buzz in the background. The old mic itself sounds distant, not very clear, and has a lot of white noise with it. Out of these two, I think it's very clear which one I am enjoying more. Audio audio quality-wise, I feel like the newer mic is better, which is the AU HD300T, because the audio is clear, even though there is a con of a buzzing in the background, and it's very hard to hear. The old mic that I used, which was the Sudotack condenser microphone, was very distant sounding and had white noise with it, while the newer one, you cannot hear any white noise, and your voice is more clear. Alright, so now that we know everything about the audio of the mic, and we know everything about the design of the mic, and we also know the price and all of the info that we need to know, we can now make a list of our pros and cons. Now, we're going to start off with pros, and I'm going to explain some of the cons along the way, and then I'm going to be explaining the cons. So let me grab the mic here. As you already know, some of the pros of this mic are it has clear audio quality. So even though it is lower, we mentioned this earlier, that would be a con, it is lower, it is very quality audio. There's no echoing, it's very professional. When you speak, you're like, hello, hello, hello. It's very sharp. I like that. I like sharp audio. You don't want something that sounds like you're in a bathroom, of course. So that is one pro. Another pro that I would say of this item is it's cheap and effective and professional. So this item itself is $60. It is the AU HD300T by Maono, and it is very cheap and effective. You know, if you look here, as I mentioned earlier, the design of it simply is just amazing for a cheap and quality item. I won't lie, this would probably be good for a starter setup, especially when you're starting streaming or doing YouTube, and you don't have much money. $60 for this. $60. And I know that sounds a lot to you probably if you don't have as much money, but that is very cheap compared to some mics that are $1,000, $800, $500, and honestly, they're kind of over the top. This one itself, though, is only $60. Cheap, effective, and it sounds pretty crystal clear to me other than it being lower. So, pro number one, it's got good audio quality. Pro number two is that it's cheap and effective. Now, what is pro number three? Well, this has got to be one of my favorite pros of all. It's very simple. Yet again, we're talking about the design here. Look at this. So, as you can see, it's very simple. My old mic that I used was a boom mic, the Sudotack boom mic, condenser microphone. It was just so hard to set up. I'd have to hook it onto my table, and then I'd have to plug it in, get underneath the table, and do all that, and I still kind of have to do that with this, but it's so much easier when all you got to do is set it on your table. It's all you have to do. Set the mic on your table, talk to it. And I think one of the reasons that the mic was harder to hear earlier was because I had the mic all the way over here, which could be a reason behind that, which we'll get into soon. But still, it's very simple. It's got its own little stand. There is no boom mic for this one. There is other versions with an extend arm, and it's a boom mic pretty much. But this one itself is just on a stand, and I think that is one of the main reasons that I enjoy it so much. It's super simple. It's very easy to set up, and I like that about it. All right, so let's get on to the cons. What are some of the cons of this microphone itself? So some of the cons, I cannot be sure on this first con, but as you heard in the audio part, when I put the mic over here, I put it over here, it was very low. It was not very high. It was very hard to hear. So I'm guessing this microphone works a lot better when you bring it up close next to you. So it's more of a closer microphone, while my boom mic could be heard from farther distances. I mean, I could literally be right here, like very close to the wall, like, and still be able to talk from here and be like, hello, hello, and they could still hear it. Though this mic still needs to be closer to you to be heard. So this is a mic that you want to get up in your face, especially if you do ASMR. You want to be if you're doing ASMR, you're gonna be really close to this mic, right? But in my case, I just do live streaming and YouTube content, so I can bring it further away. I just need to make up for it with audio dBs. I need to raise the levels of it, or I could keep it closer and try to keep it quality. So that is a con. It is lower in volume the further away it goes, and it's not got a very big range. Now, the next con is something to do with the design. As you guys saw earlier, I had this little piece here. I put on a pop filter. Now, that pop filter itself, I think it is ingenious in the way they did it. Like, I love how they use the metal to make the pop filter, but it is also still very flimsy. If I were to say that I had to pay $10 extra, like $70 for this mic, but it had a perfectly good pop filter, me and I'm sure thousands of others would be like, yeah, we'd be willing to pay extra money for that. Because, I'm not gonna lie, it's just a little bit too flimsy. The pop filter goes over, it swings around, and just one little bump and you've messed up your pop filter. So I feel like the pop filter could get some work on con. It was very cool how they set it up with just a little piece of metal. I was surprised at that. But in all, I feel like they could put some more money towards the pop filter, even if you have to pay a little bit extra. So that is a con on the design. That is our second con. As for our third con, to make it equal, we want a 3-3 split. The third con of this is as you heard in the audio, there is a slight buzzing in the background. Now, I'm not trying to stick up for the mic itself, but I did talk to a friend before this using the mic because I thought I heard a slight buzzing in the mic when I was using it and listened to it before I made this video. I did hear a buzzing indeed. And when I called a friend up, they said that it was very faint and hard to hear, and I could agree with them on that, especially since it's not as hard to hear unless you boost the levels up like I did in the audio track. But there is indeed a buzzing there. I have no clue if that's because we used the USB-C cable instead of this cable, but I do know that there is a buzzing. I don't know if that's the cable or just how I have it set up, but I will tell you that there is a buzzing with the audio, which is a con of it. Though it is very faint, I will give it that much. It is very faint and hard to hear. There is still a buzzing. Alright, so now that we have all the pros and cons that I have here, these are the major ones. I didn't really notice anything else too much to talk about. I really think this is a nice mic. My personal opinion on this is that I'm going to keep this mic, and I love this mic. I wouldn't say it's the best of the best, because obviously it's not the best of the best, but it is a really nice mic, especially for someone who's trying to start out. And my personal opinion on this is it has good quality, it's worth my time, and even though it has a little bit of buzzing in the background, it's easily edited out in audio. Now, I honestly thought I was doing good with my older mic until I literally tested out this audio on this mic and heard how sharp and clear my voice was coming out with this mic. And I can definitely say I love this mic more. It's got much higher quality, okay? My old mic was capturing the air conditioner, everything in the background. You know, if a fly buzzed by, it would capture the... Like, this one seems to very clearly capture my audio, and of course, nothing in the background as far as I can tell. So I am very hyped to continue using this microphone, though everybody has their own opinions, so it's up to you really based off of the pros and cons that I have listed, whether you would like to buy this. Now, I will say I would like to thank the company Maono for reaching out to me and giving me their time, because I am a small YouTuber of sorts, to review your product. Honestly, I am glad to have reviewed this. I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I hope that you enjoy my review of it, Maono. And I think this mic is a fine mic. You did a good job with it. You really did. I mean, there is some cons with it, but you did do a good job. So thank you. Thank you for reaching out. And now let's talk about where you can find the Maono AU HD300T mic. Get the Maono $60 HD300T mic down in the description down below. Just click the link and you'll be redirected. Here on the Anthony A-Dog channel, we make reviews, reactions, let's plays, and gaming videos. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're interested in this content.